your time. Over to you, Honourable Maria.
Thank you very much, and it's a real pleasure to join you all this afternoon. Can I begin by acknowledging that I'm on the land of the Wurundjeri people, and I want to pay my respects to all the traditional owners of the land, past and present. I also want to thank you all for being a part of this very important event, the inaugural Sickle Cell Disease Conference here in Australia. And I want to particularly thank the organisers for putting together such an exciting, diverse and very informative agenda. It's a pleasure to share a platform with the many highly distinguished members of the medical community and also advocates and members of our broader community who are presenting here today. It's also a pleasure to share this platform with my parliamentary colleagues, the Minister for Health, the Honourable Greg Hunt, and the Shadow Minister for Health, the Honourable Mark Butler. Their presence here in this conference this morning shows just how much progress has been made in advancing the cause of sickle cell disease and awareness at the highest levels in this country. I'm very proud to be the Australian Sickle Cell Advocacy Ambassador, and I want to begin by paying tribute to the tireless efforts behind not only this conference, but also the extraordinary work that goes on in communities right across Australia towards raising awareness for sickle cell disease. I'd like to acknowledge the work of the Australian Sickle Cell Advocacy Group and ASCA's founder and executive director, Agnes Mosafa. Agnes and her family have been waging their own personal battle with sickle cell disease. She and her husband Preston have fought hard to support their daughter Mapalo on her journey as a sufferer of sickle cell disease. This determination and resilience in the face of adversity has led them to imagining and establishing a place where they could share their experiences with others. And from there, they have gone on to take the fight to raising awareness about sickle cell disease and indeed seeking a cure to the highest echelons of decision-making. Agnes and I first met many years ago, and at that time, I knew almost nothing of sickle cell disease. And then when a few years later, she approached me to support her vision for establishing the Australian Sickle Cell Advocacy and asked me to be the patron, I did not hesitate for a moment. I'm proud to have been at the official launch of the Australian Sickle Cell Advocacy at the Royal Children's Hospital in 2019, and am proud to continue to walk with ASCA on its continuing journey onwards and upwards. I want to thank Agnes for her tireless efforts and dedication, which has seen some welcome progress in recent times by the ASCA towards helping drive positive health outcomes. The Australian Government Department of Health's recent announcement that sickle cell disease has become one of the nominated conditions proposed for inclusion in newborn blood spot screening, the NBS program, is very much welcomed. In welcoming this, I want to from the outset use today as an opportunity to call on two major things. Firstly, while this is a welcome first step towards having the NBS for sickle cell disease implemented in Australia, I want to today call on the government to fully implement its inclusion with funding and implementation in all states and territories across Australia. I join delegates at this conference in calling for newborn screening implemented in Australia after the reviewing period ends. Now ASCA's work towards connecting a network across the country and with their international counterparts has made very real headway as it reached a certain frequency amongst particular ethnic groups. The networks of engagement by ASCA stand as a symbol of how we should cooperate and engage on both a local and global level to drive positive health outcomes, which is where I come to my second point. I would like to see the 19th of June officially recognised in the Australian Parliament as World Sickle Cell Awareness Day. Sickle cell is often referred to as a silent illness, dealt with alone by those who have the condition, which is why it's important that we highlight not only the health outcomes we're trying to achieve, but the personal stories of those who have suffered alone for so long. A lot of the stories I've listened to and heard from over the years have had one common thread that ties them all together, and that is the enduring the pain in silence, not only for those living with the disease, but also their families and their caregivers. That is why the advocacy work that you all do is so important to breaking down those barriers and to addressing the mental health aspects which come with suffering from a disease such as sickle cell disease. We need to move away from the stigma and address the pain and the isolation. It is these human stories which have shaped my commitment to this cause as an advocate and patron of ASCA. Recently, during the week following the occasion of World Sickle Cell Awareness Day, there was an event in Parliament to present an opportunity for us to hear from patients directly. I used this week as an opportunity to look at insights from people living with the disease. I was inspired by something which is reflected here today in this conference, and that is the link between the medical and allied health professionals and the human factor, a symbiotic relationship of doctors and researchers with the patients and their families. It is this holistic view of health treatment that helps shape the policies of government, and I encourage you to continue along this journey, to continue to advocate and raise awareness, and to continue to share your stories. And I want to finish today with something very, very close to my own heart. Over the years, I have been privileged to meet many people who have approached me to assist them in their advocacy for raising awareness about a range of diseases, from the more widely known to the more rare forms. They have been ordinary people, often battling disease themselves, but wanting to make a difference. They have fought for better care, for improving preventative measures, and for more funding for critical research to find better treatments and ultimately cures. In sharing their stories and personal journeys, I have also found that there was always a sense of connection to family and to community, whether it be the school supporting students or families supporting loved ones. I want to be frank here and say that my connection to sickle cell advocacy is as much about family as it is a part of my job as a Member of Parliament representing a very multicultural community. Now, I don't know whether it's the fact that it's one of the most common inherited blood disorders with a higher occurrence among particular ethnic groups in our community that traditionally have a strong family focus and kinship that drives this sense of family. But whatever it is that brings this feeling and notions of family in my own mind, I'm very much proud to be patron and be considered a part of this family. I want to wish you all the very best of luck with the rest of the conference. Keep up the incredibly amazing work that you do. And I know that together, going forward, we will find not only a cure for sickle cell disease, but we will also find ways of improving the lives of those Australians who are suffering from the condition. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Maria. Really, really appreciate your sentiments and the work, as you've highlighted, the work that you have been doing with Agnes and the team in Melbourne that's spread out to the rest of Australia. So we thank you so much for your time, for your support and all the work. And yes, we will join you in advocating for the recognition of the 19th of June, as you mentioned in your speech. There's a recognition in Australia for that date. So I wouldn't take too much of your time. I'm very mindful that our next session has started, but just want to take a moment again to say thank you for your time and support.
Pleasure.
Good day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.